Hi, my name's Nick Bunny, and I'm a compliance officer working for a global brokerage firm in the City of London. And I'm hoping to share on Unveiled's platform my experience around mental health and some of the steps that I took to overcome some challenges. Hopefully it will be helpful for people to see that we're not all alone in the way we feel. In fact, we have a lot more in common than you think. So, like I said, I work in the City of London. I've always had quite a fast-paced mind. I overthink things too much and overplan. Sometimes that can be a bit stressful, and it means that I end up with quite high expectations on myself and others. But previously, what I didn't realise, what I do now, is that I don't have much control of anything, and there's so much in my life that I have no control over at all, whether it's how people react, how they behave, my expectations of them, my past, whether it comes from work or whether it comes at home. You're always going to come across challenges, and unexpected things that are going to arise. So being someone who overthinks, no matter how much I try to put things in boxes and put spreadsheets and lists and reiterate things to people, it doesn't mean that people are going to do what you want or that the world's going to work in your favour. So I always felt like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't good enough, and that was the underlying feeling. And that must have started when I was in my sort of early 30s, I suppose. This led to me feeling like a failure, even though I'd done everything that I ever could have hoped for. I studied at school, I went to a grammar school, I went to a good university in London, I got a job as a stockbroker, one of the first in that company at that time that was moved at a young age onto the desk, and I was earning great money. I had a beautiful wife. Luckily I still do, a nice house, great kids, but I was miserable. I can't explain to you the feeling, of dread every time I'd be going into work, and then also the same feeling coming back from work. I hated the job, the people, and I started to hate myself because I wasn't as successful as I'd hoped, and I wasn't enjoying my job. Social media was telling me you should be in charge of your own business, you should have a six-pack, you should have cryptocurrency, you should be loaded, you should be traveling around the world. And I felt lost. No matter how strict I was with rules for myself or how much I reiterated to myself, you must do this, you've got to do this, I never really got to that point where I felt satisfied. And it's something that I think a lot of people are going through, and it left me feeling depressed and unhealthy, and I was using drink and drugs and food to give me those little moments of joy, just so that I could make it through the week. And actually they ended up causing me more pain. I just felt alone, and I felt like I was the only one that was feeling that stuff. At that time I felt like I couldn't speak to anyone. Even in 2017, mental health and emotions were not common topics on trading desks. They're not really common topics now. Getting signed off for stress was seen as a career suicide. It was seen as a weakness. So I'd come into work every day hoping I got made redundant, hoping that they would get rid of me, and then they'd take the choice away from me. I later found that many people were feeling exactly the same way. Many people in the firm were just thinking that they wish that they could be made redundant too. And it's a terrible, toxic state of affairs where no one's willing to discuss their problems so much that everyone would rather lose their job than improve the workplace they're in, which I'm sure many people can associate with. People are just trying to put on a brave face. Even when I took a break from alcohol or tried some self-improvement, I was ridiculed for it, and so people are very scared of having a mirror held up to themselves, is what I've discovered. And so it's really important not to listen necessarily to other people all the time. But I decided to take a break from work when my mother-in-law passed away. She'd been living with us, and it was a bit of a tough time. I'd been useless during her illness because I was so consumed with my own self-pity that I was no help for anyone. So enough was enough. I realised my mental health was an issue, and the environment I was in was an issue. So I volunteered myself to be made redundant. Unfortunately, that was taken up. And I started to read, I studied, I listened to podcasts, I looked at, streams from companies like Unveiled and people like that who are talking about these subjects. These help, but I still felt a little bit alone because I was trying to deal with it all myself and solve all the problems myself. But perspective's the key, isn't it? I started therapy. I started to talk to people. I spoke to my family. I hadn't spoken to them because I thought that I was embarrassed. I thought they would be ashamed of me. But I spoke to them and they were just worried about me. Friends were worried about me. Friends had the same issues that I had. And then as soon as you start talking about it, everyone starts talking about it. And then you can help each other out. We're actually all going through a lot of the same stuff. The fact that we don't discuss it openly doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And organisations like Unveiled that have campaigns that work within organisations to bring about that conversation, they're moving these things forward. They have a professional health section on their website for you to go to if you want to get some advice too. But, the difference between workplaces 5 years ago is vast. Now there's wellbeing initiatives and the company I work at is excellent. There's a lot of talk around mental health. It's very well publicised and well promoted. And there's more of a work-life balance. We talk about things, how you feel mentally in the same way as you talk physically. So I started a set of notes for myself and they were called X equals Y, which is one of the philosophies I really enjoyed from a philosopher called Arthur Schopenhauer, just saying that you can't control everything. And the more you try to control things, the more life will swing it back in the other direction. So really you need to find a balance. And this led to me starting to write my own book. I've got a copy of it here. It's called ABCD. And it's about the main elements that I found that were so helpful to me. And these are authenticity, balance, consistency, and discipline. Just to break those down a little bit, the things that really helped me was to take control of my own life and the authorship of my story. I decided to look at, what is important to me? Why is it important to me? Because a lot of the things I was stressing about, a lot of things that were overwhelming me, it turns out they weren't that important anyway, or maybe there were things that others expected of me or what I saw on social media. So it's very important to take that stock and be able to have some values and expectations that work for me. I also realised that you can't do everything at once. Social media may tell you that, but life isn't lived in silos. You can't be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and the best dad in the world and a sports star and a cryptocurrency portfolio, blah, blah, blah. That stuff can't all happen at once. So it's about understanding your time and your expectations. Don't put so much pressure on yourself, And then when you do find that stuff, the stuff that matters, be consistent. Even if it's things like making your bed in the morning, even if it's things like splashing cold water in your face in your morning, morning routines are really important. But consistency, break bigger things down into smaller steps so they're not so overwhelming. This thing that you need, if it is authentic to you and it's work related, for example, what are the small steps you can do every day that ignore everyone else's part so you've done your best? So even if you don't get there, you still feel like you did something, And then discipline, obviously, you do have to show up. Human beings need challenges. And so when you overcome the challenges that are important to you, it gives you a sense of purpose and it makes you feel happy. And for me, that wasn't becoming a CEO of a company or having a six-pack, although I'd still like a six-pack. But it was to write a book and to help others. And that's why I'm making this video today. I created a set of tools and I'm hoping that they can help others. Just in the same way as I'm hoping that the changes that I made can be seen in me, and then I can set a good example to others by making videos like the one I'm making today. So that book's called ABCD, Finding Happiness, and my name's Nicholas Bunny. And hopefully I've given you a little bit of insight into what I went through so that you can see through these shared experiences that, we're all going through the same things. We're all feeling overwhelmed. We all feel anxious. We all feel like we're not good enough or we're not doing enough, and perhaps that we can't speak out. But the starting point out really is to talk to people and to make these conversations commonplace. So hopefully with the organisation's work, they can make workplaces a little bit better in that regard. So just remember, you don't have to do it all yourself. We all have the same struggles, and hopefully this shared experience can help you through. Thanks and have a nice day.